Okay, so bonjour, hello, welcome everyone to the second session of Ferrières Insight. It's our monthly online streaming show in which we interact with global experts in the world of hospitality and luxury hotels, restaurants, events, retail. So it's going to be, the idea is really to help all of you who are listening, to help you build your career or guide you towards a career if you're considering going into the world of hospitality. That's kind of the idea, to show you all different kind of aspects of our wonderful industry that we are part of. And once again, my name is Willem van Rossem. I'm your host for the next hour. And I am the manager of the Barcelona campus of Ferrières Hospitality and Luxury Management School in Paris. And I'm also in charge of the international partnerships. And I just want to tell all of you that are listening in, you can participate in this program by putting your questions and observations already in the chat, and then we can answer them in real time. And otherwise, we'll also reserve the last 15-20 minutes for guests, for all of you to have a question and answer session. We have two fantastic guests. We have Gerald Lampaert, founder and CEO of Vertu Hotels and Resorts, and he will tell us all about that shortly. And Angelo, Vassallo, hotel manager at Minor Hotels in Amsterdam, and also a food and beverage expert extraordinaire. Before we start, I want to tell you that this program is brought to you by Ferrières Hospitality and Luxury Management School in Paris, one of the premier hotel schools in Europe. And you can check out our website at ferrières-paris.com for more information. So let's get started. A very warm welcome to all of you, both of you, also gentlemen, Gerald and Angelo, and let's dive straight into our conversation. How did you get into the world of hotels and restaurants and events? What attracted you? Gerald, if you want to open the dance today.
Sure, happy to. It's my case is probably a little different than most of the people in hospitality. When I was a student, I used to work in a very small hotel where the owner were friends of the family. So I was going there once a year, usually for July or August, to do like a job student. And actually, I liked it. I liked the fact that to be in contact with guests and provide experiences and share experiences with people was a nice thing. And somehow along the road, I kind of brought in about hospitality, and suddenly there is an international company who came to Europe, and that international company was Disney. And since I was still young by the time, I took the chance. Thank you. I took the chance, and starting with Disney was a very interesting experience. Not only about working in a large international organization, but also it was one of a kind of organization where you are able to move from department. You are able to learn. There's the Disney University. There's the capacity to promote people. So back in time, it was probably the best experience and university for me in hospitality. And that's really where, from opening the Newport Bay Club back in time, was 1,098 room hotel for a young 21 years old guy, was an experience, a big experience. And also to be able to get promoted from bellman to receptionist to supervisor of about 187 people, all in the course of 4 months, was something really unique. And then move from operations to convention services, organizing meetings from 15 up to 17,000 people, was also something different. And I think when you get into those type of enterprises, when you start off in hospitality, it grows on you, it grows in you, and when you are in the right enterprise to start off, and not to re-mention it, but Disney was always very professional and strong in driving the mindset of the cast members, whether you were a baseline employee or supervisor or a manager, but to be able to look at all those touch points and create a wow and an experience, touch the heart of the people was something that I really liked. And that's basically the catalyst of the remaining of my career.
Yeah. Because after that, well, we'll get into that in a little bit, how that jump started from that. Sure. Angelo, what was your path? How did you get into hospitality?
Well, I think that it was related to my Sicilian roots, because at that time in the high school, everybody was speaking that tourism and hotels could save the economy of the island. So I said, okay, let's get on board on this mission. So I started to study hospitality management in the center of Italy. But then some way the mission get a little bit split, because I went around Europe while Sicily said where it is. And it's now, of course, better in terms of tourism, but not because of me. So I started hospitality management, and then I moved from Perugia, where I studied, to Venice, and then from Venice, practically around Europe. So I was in Germany, I was in Austria, I was a short experience in Belgium as well, then a long experience in Barcelona, and now I am currently in Amsterdam. I touched a different department. So actually I started in room division, so as front office agent, and then going up. And then in Cologne was my change from room division to F&B. I got in love with the food and beverage world. And therefore I had a great experience in Barcelona as F&B director for 6 years of a really great hotel with catering and with the Congress Center and so on. And then I moved now to operation manager position in Amsterdam. It's the biggest hotel of the Netherlands, so 650 rooms. Exciting project which came to life just a few months ago with a new rooftop and a new rooftop bar and a restaurant on the 24th floor. So I'm keeping myself busy and enjoying the hospitality life, which is, I would say, never boring. So
never a dull moment, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, nice. So Angelo already talked a little bit about how he's been traveling around the world, and the same holds true for you, right, Gerald? You didn't stay in Paris, right? You moved on after Disney, right?
I did indeed. After Disney, I mean, it can be a long discussion, but I'll make it short. After Disney, a few years at Disney, I moved to the French Alps, to Annecy, to work in the hotel called the Imperial Palace, which was a hotel, casino, and conference center. Beautiful property on the lake in Annecy. And then I did that for a few years. And then I moved back to Paris to become one of the regional directors for Millennium and Copthorne Hotels for another 2.5 years. But the part of my career at Disney, which was event management and organization, came back to me. And in 2002, I started my first company, which was Luxury Communication, still active actually, in Paris, organizing events, mainly focused on the luxury industry. And so we did organize some events like the Polo World Championship in Chantilly, which was it was 25,000 people during a week, and other various events in the luxury sphere. After that, I kept doing more basic hospitality works through Luxury Communication, and I worked very closely with other brands like the Dolce brand. Dolce being was specialized in the conference business, hotel and conference business. And ultimately, I moved moved partially to New York to become a vice president of the company for the US, Canada, and European properties. And a little later, did the same in the same capacity a few years later for another company based in the US, in Texas, in North Houston, called the Benchmark Hospitality, with 46 properties across the US. So it was interesting. Then I came back to Europe permanently after that, although I was commuting pretty much on a weekly basis for several years. But
I remember you telling me once that you weren't in the top tier of the loyalty program. I remember you telling me a story many years ago, no? That you had, I don't know how many million of thousands of points, right?
Too many.
Flying.
Yeah, well, apparently some number 7 passenger for Air France for 10 years. Yeah. So platinum for life, as they call, but it's
nice.
The world program. But yes, it was a different life, and being younger was easier. Now I wouldn't do that anymore. But anyway, long story short, coming back to Europe permanently, it was probably the right decision, especially from a family standpoint. And later, to cut it short, later in 2015, I started a new company in Switzerland, which also was based for the hospitality services as a whole. But my dream when I was young was to potentially have my own hotel group, because if somebody else can do it, why not me? And
Amen.
Indeed. So that's how I ended up creating a Vertu Hotels and Resorts in 2018, which was originally the driver was to become a full management company. But unfortunately, an international event happened called COVID, and that slowed down the entire management contracts processes. So there was 2 opportunities. The first one was to stop, and the other one was to find an alternative to keep going. And the alternative to keep going was to work with ownership groups or venture groups who were already owner of assets, and we took the opportunity of the COVID and the lockdowns and the non-occupancy and hotel being closed to renovate, expand, build, and so on. And so Vertu Hotels and Resorts added a component to the organization, which was Vertu Hospitality Service, and we helped up to 17 projects at the same time in the middle of COVID to build, extend, renovate hotels on various areas of our industry. So basically, it was a very beneficiary for us.
A blessing in disguise, right?
Indeed, yeah, indeed. And then at the same time, we were preparing the return. And for Vertu Hotels and Resorts, beside the management, we did start communicating with the boutique hotel industry, which was our main goal anyway, but to affiliate hotels and help them getting another channel to increase their revenue and their occupancy after COVID. So, but I'll go deeper in that that respect a little later.
Nice. Angelo, you also, you've been working also for companies that are more European, right? Like NH and Radisson, but also with Hilton, right? And Fairmont, which are the more American Anglo-Saxon companies. How is it different to work for a more European group as perhaps opposed to a more American, Canadian style company? Did you feel a difference in the approach of the companies to work for one versus the other, the company culture, etc.? What is your take?
Well, I would say that working with, let's say, company American based or Anglo-Saxon, as you said, it's they are a little bit more structured in the approach. So you have more standards, you have more processes, you have really fixed structure, which sometimes is good to to start your path with, because then you have a kind of structure that you can follow, and then of course your hiring process is getting much faster than it could be in other companies which are not so structured. But at the same time, working as well with the European company, I found that not having all these fixed procedures sometimes as well helps you to react quicker to situations which are not standard one. So I would say that these are the main difference that I can, let's say, distinguish between the two. At the same time, what I really appreciated with the Anglo-Saxon company was this kind of international get-together with, for example, F&B management team meeting, operation management team meeting. Company like Hilton or Fairmont, they're really good on this. And this is the opportunity where you can exchange ideas and process procedure with your pair working in different parts of the world, which in European company, they are starting to work with it. There are companies which are really good already on this, but still not on the same level of Anglo-Saxon company. Then in terms of culture, and maybe we will go a little bit deeper on this, I have always my doubt in terms in that word, let's say, company culture, because it's true that, of course, there's a company culture, but at the end of the day, this company culture is each company has always, let's say, three main concerns. Quality, which is guest oriented, then people oriented, so developing people, and of course making money for the stakeholders. Otherwise, it will not make sense to stay on the market. But at the end, who is making the company culture is the leader of the hotel, the leader of the department, the supervisor on the shift. Because if these people are not putting on the stone on the field what it's the company culture will never exist. So you can find, for example, a chain hotel based in Amsterdam was a really wonderful hotel culture, and then the same another hotel with the same hotel chain based in just 5 kilometers away with a completely different culture inside the hotel. So I would say that the company culture is not for me related to where the company is based, but it's related more to the manager or supervisor and the people, of course, belonging to the team. So I will not, let's say, make any difference related to the origin or source of the business in this case.
It's true, yeah. Gerald, do you have a similar opinion or very different?
No, I think Angelo narrowed it very well. I mean, if you take the culture topic, there's no standard for culture. The culture is part of. It starts from top to bottom. Is a question of what is your vision, and when your vision is clear, you try to feed it to the management teams and to the staff down the road. I think what is important in creating a proper culture is communication. If you have the right communication, the right empathy, the right approach, sharing, and not putting everybody on the same line, but at least get your staff, all the staff closer, then you start building a culture. And this is what is important. And every culture is different. Whether you're in the luxury industry or in a different type, they're all good. They're different, but what is important is the communication with the people.
Yeah. How do you do that, Gerald? How do you assure? And then I'll ask the same also to Angelo. How do you, make the communication as fluid, as transparent as possible, so people really understand, as you say, that vision, that mission, who we are as an organization, what we try to accomplish? How can you make it happen? How that communication?
Okay, I'll start. I think what is important in our specific case, our team is spread out across Europe and actually even US. And it's not easy when you have a team that's spread out to build a culture. Although you see each other from time to time, but to build a culture, you need to do it in a different way. That's in our organization. What you need to do is to give trust to people. You need to give them the tools, of course. You need to give them a direction, a vision, to keep them dreaming about what is possible and also be realistic of what is not. But I think, again, I'm going back to the same topic. If you're distant like what we are, you need to have the proper communication and trust people. So do the right hiring and trust them. Because I think there's a quote from Steve Jobs that I really like.
Yeah.
He said, we don't hire people to tell them what to do. We hire people for them to tell us what to do. And this is exactly, if you rely and if you trust the people and you give them you empower them.
Empowerment.
Yeah, absolutely. You build the right culture.
Yes, so true. Angelo, you want to add to that, to the communication, how to make sure your employees can make that culture come alive, make it happen?
Sure. Indeed, the communication point is really wide points to be faced. And I would say for me, there are really two factors important on this case. One, it's being a role model. So sometimes we have this kind of incongruency between what is on the paper and what the leader is doing. And then in this case, of course, this mismatching is confusing people.
Yeah.
And then I realized, especially then after the COVID, when everybody's struggling with in finding people, in hiring people and so on, that we may be starting to get a little bit more on the position of being people pleaser. So meaning that sometimes we are afraid to get in critical conversation and we overpromise, which makes then the conversation not trustful anymore, because of course, if you are overpromising, then sometimes you cannot deliver. So I prefer to have this kind of communication in an approach of kind of people developer, meaning having critical conversation with the team if something cannot happen or something needs to happen, which is not pleasant, but at least everybody can, let's say, develop himself or grow in the process, then saying yes, yes, yes. And then at the end of the day, you have your team demotivated because you create false expectations. So for me, these are two critical points which are really important in the communication. So being a role model, and then don't overpromise. So keep the conversation honest and promise when you can, and make sure that if something cannot be done or something is critical, then put it in the table as it is.
Yeah, very true. Gerald, you well, of course, our paths crossed in terms of Dolce when you were also in charge, of course, of the information, the IT part, the technology part as well for the whole chain, and of course with luxury communication with your own organization there. Of course, you also had a lot in terms of hospitality and technology. How do you see this impacting our industry technology? Of course, and all, you as perhaps have more closer to the fire in that sense. How do you see this will be impacting, particularly perhaps the operations side of business, and how can young people, young professionals, or students be prepared for this perhaps whole new world, or perhaps not new world? You tell me.
Well, I think what I believe is that hospitality, as always in the past, let me clear that up. In the past, hospitality was always considering technology as the last leg of the of the truck, and time has proven that technology is actually in the center of everything that's happening in the hospitality industry nowadays. There's nothing you can do without touching, from a very small to the big point, technology. Whether it's telephony, now it goes through technology. We're not talking about classic telephony anymore. Communication with the prospect, with the clients, with the corporations, or else is electronic. Now, in terms of guest experience on property, there's a lot going through technology, and I think you pinpoint COVID and technology. Obviously, it was an accelerator. Technology was pushed in the center of the COVID process when clients were able to resume travels. There was all those different type of mandates to put QR codes, to do the touchless protocols, etc., etc. So everything, guest directories, menus, everything was going through technology. So I think more than before, although before it was already there, more than before, technology has stepped up as the centerpiece of hospitality. Now, where I see a convergence, I wouldn't say a difference, but a convergence is younger generation traveling are the new ones, the new generation, are so used to technology that for them it's natural. There's nothing that's weird about booking your hotel room on the phone and then checking in on your phone and getting your room key on your phone and then checking out through the TV or through the phone, and then ultimately not even potentially not seeing anybody in the hotel besides going to the restaurant or the bar. But so for them it's natural, and then we are still at that boundary of that crossing of generations where there's still a part of the older generation who are very much into experience, although the younger ones are also very focused on experience, but in a different way. And the experience is to speak to people, to sit down, to explain, where technology is less important. But of course, yes, it's you cannot imagine living in a world without technology today. So
look at this, the three of us, right? We would not be talking now if it weren't for technology, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. Angelo, you want to add something from how you see technology in hotel operations, in food and beverage, how it has been changing or will change further?
Well, there's been a lot of changes, as Gerald was saying before, and from online check-in, online checkout, from ordering room service from the stay app, from when you forgot your dental kit, you can ask to the reception as well via the stay app and so on. But for me, if I see as well from now from the food and beverage part, there are a lot of let's say benefits that came with the QR code, not only in terms of having the digital menu, but what you can do with a digital menu, it's a potential which is really, really extensive, because at the end of the day, you don't need to print the menu when something is out in the kitchen. You can just with a click remove the plate. You don't you are not depending anymore on the waiter saying, oh, I'm sorry, today we don't have the sea bass, but we have the sea bram. So you can change this in one click. There are as well, especially in Spain, you have a really nice company which are working now with dynamic pricing even in F&B, and this will be not possible if the menu will be not a digital one, because in this case you can change easily the price. Yeah.
Can you perhaps explain a little bit? Not everyone might know dynamic pricing, what it really means. Can you explain in simple terms what that is all about? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Sure. Everybody knows, because I know that everybody, at least once in a life, they booked a flight. So they tried to book the flight last night, and that price was 150 euros. Then they tried to book a flight today, and the price was maybe 159 euros. So this is dynamic price. It was the same date that you tried to book, but the price was different. This according, of course, to level of demand. It can be according to seasonality. It could be according to the fact that on that day, maybe they received a lot of demands for that date and decide to change the price, or maybe because there was the Champions League, let's say, assignment of group, and they decided that on that date, Barcelona is playing in the Camp Nou, and therefore the flights in Barcelona for that date, they change. So this, it's a kind of, for everybody, it's clear for the flight model. It's for everybody now, it's clear as well for the rooms as well, because if you're going in high season in let's say summer destination, you know that you need to pay more. But if you are going to a restaurant a Saturday night when it's really busy, you are not used still to pay more if you're going on Saturday, and to pay less if you're going maybe on a Monday night when the restaurant is not busy. So this is what we call dynamic pricing. Of course, can change from different factors. It could be not only seasonality, it could be in F&B as well. The fact that you are sitting in the terrace in place of sitting inside. It could be that you have a nice table with facing Amsterdam and not a table on the second line. So dynamic pricing can be really a wide concept that you can apply according to the as well to the market that you are working with, of course. So this is what I call dynamic pricing. Of course, technology in this is helping a lot, because especially now I was thinking about the menu changing the price, but of course, all the statistic behind, without technology, it would be impossible. I mean, we have a system, for example, in Minor Hotel, which is really good in analyzing as well for time frame, how many cover, or how many revenue we generated per hours. And this, of course, will help you a lot to get your strategy in place, because when you maybe you want to put some promotion to increase volume, and as well maybe when you want to put just a fixed menu to increase your average per cover. So without technology, this one, I challenge everybody to do this on paper.
Yeah, interesting. Of course, in a way, we've been doing this already for years, perhaps a prefix menu of items you kind of want to push, right? But now, do you think this more, well, I don't want to call aggressive, but more open applying this? Do you think that the guest is willing to pay more, as you say, for the same dish on a Saturday night as opposed on Monday. Is it being accepted? What is your experience, or how do you feel?
I don't feel that it's already widely accepted, but if we will ask in the 60s, no, when the revenue management started with the flight, was anybody willing to pay more for a flight than one day than another one? I don't suppose so. So it's kind of a kind of culture, no? People will get, let's say, accustomed to it once that they see, oh, this is working. Because if it's a kind of a rule of the market, no? If something is rare, you are, let's say, keen to pay more for something is rare. So if it's rare to get a nice table facing the window in a rooftop restaurant in Amsterdam on Saturday night, then maybe you are willing to pay more for this than getting the same table on a Monday night when the restaurant is not well occupied as it is on Saturday. So it's kind of perception, which I know that at the moment is still challenging, but there are still there are already companies doing this, especially in Spain. You have a lot of sample of this company, especially in the area of Madrid, and it's working. Of course, this is increasing the profitability of an F&B department, which we know is not known to bring the best profit conversion in a hotel. So, but these are tools that we need to, let's say, explore to make sure that the profitability of this department is getting better.
Yeah.
I think Angelo, if you don't mind, Willem. Angelo, I think it's interesting what you're saying, and funny enough, when you look at the suppliers in your F&B areas, they already apply dynamic pricing because the price of the meat today is not the same as tomorrow, and in the hotel has to basically sell at the same price probably for until the menu is the cart is over. So it's we are in a specific market there.
Yeah. Are you applying it, Gerald, dynamic pricing in the F&B or not yet in the F&B outlets?
No, you know, it's I mean, the majority of the hotels that are affiliates are boutique hotels, luxury hotels, and it's not yet. I don't think it's yet in the philosophy to make things, especially when you have recurring guests. So if they come back like 2 or 3 times a week for dinner or for lunch, they will see the difference. It may impact your property in a negative way. So no.
Yeah, makes completely sense. Yeah. Angelo, you just talked about the difficulty, of course, for restaurants to be profitable, particularly in the post-COVID era, and sometimes even in hotels, right? Sometimes restaurants are considered, well, it's a necessary evil. I need to have one. I need to have room service. I need to have a bar, a restaurant, but they're often not giving perhaps the tender loving care as being seen as an opportunity to make money rather than an acceptable loss, right? Why is that? And I know it's changing. It's changing. And what has been your approach? Because I know you've been, of course, a very successful director of F&B, and now with your new concept in Amsterdam there, the rooftop restaurant and bar. So talk us a little bit about that, how that shift perhaps in mindset, or at least how you approach to make restaurants, even in a hotel setting, profitable.
Yeah. I think that in your description, really, there was part of the reply, because there's still this kind of, I would say, old behavior to have your restaurant in the hotel as a place to feed your guests. So it's kind of, I must have a restaurant because I have a hotel. And I think this is the wrong, I will not say this is the wrong approach. It's an approach which is jeopardizing a little bit more your profitability, because in this case, what you're doing is you're not creating an experience, you are just feeding people in the hotel. So as soon as you start to create a really, let's say, valid and solid dining experience, you will realize that why I should sell this experience just to my hotel guests when this is really a nice experience, which I could sell as well to local people of the city or of the area. And then when you start to generate volume and to start to generate as well market awareness, which make you think, wow, I can make really money from this business. I can manage this business in a more profitable way. And then you start to have fun about it, because then, of course, you receive feedback from your guests. You want to improve the experience. The city is speaking about you, and you get proud about the product. And this is a kind of circle that push you to improve it a little bit more. So you were speaking about my experience now in Amsterdam. I mean, when we developed the concept about this rooftop restaurant and bar, our main target were not guests of the hotel, because we knew that we have 650 rooms. Okay, so some way, someone will come to it eventually of the hotel. We're having 650 rooms, we had a really good basis, but our target was mainly the guests of Amsterdam. So currently, more than 50% of our diners are local people.
Congratulations.
And we just opened officially on 7th of September.
Yeah.
And as well, from my past experience in Barcelona, you know, we had a really good grill restaurant over there as well, the Terrace.
Yeah.
And at that time, we had 54% of guests which were coming from Barcelona itself. And this helps as well, because of course, the people coming from tourism, I mean, the guests of the hotel, they want to eat where the local people eat as well. They don't want to have just a dining
tourist trap,
experience.
right? They don't.
Exactly. They want to experience what the local eat, and this is what is switching and shifting as well in the hotel world. No, you are not seeing anymore F&B kind of mandatory, let's say, department to open a hotel. You are seeing F&B like a kind of company within the company. So it's happening that it is inside the hotel, but it's still, let's say, a company who can deliver experience and, of course, a profitability within the big company, which is the hotel.
Amazing, very good. Gerald, what would you like to add here? What is your approach to really make the F&B a profitable part, and as Angelo was saying, also focusing on the local clientele, right? What have been your endeavors, or what's your approach in this?
Yeah, our approach is exactly the same as Angelo. It's a choice. Either you make hospitality, you make hotels where people are basically transient, and the guests that you have today will eventually come back, but they are just passing by. This is very true for example, airport hotels, where I would say the F&B then is a little less important. We are in a different market. We are in the boutique hotel, a niche. It's a niche market. The average rate is fairly high. People come, and we promote the destinations of those hotels because they will have a local experience. That's, as we say in French, the produit du terroir. So it's the reality. It's working with the local suppliers of eggs, of meat, of vegetables, and all this created in a fashion that is proper to the location. So it's an experience. So obviously, if you create an experience with local products, you may get some better deals in terms of purchase price or not, but what you will deliver will be worth the price for the customer. And at the end of the day, what is important is that the experience when they leave your restaurant is great. Yeah. And if it's great, the cost is secondary. Yeah. And that's our assumption. That's what we believe in. And this is why most of the restaurants in the portfolio, or the ones that we opened in the past, some of them obtained Michelin star, so which was nice. But again, we are in a different bubble, and both bubbles are good. But if you focus on quality and a great experience, there's a price associated to it.
Yeah. But it will pay itself off in the long run, right, Gerald? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, the return on investment is like for everything. Everything you do is based on the return on investment you will get will be proportional to the level of service and quality that you provide, regardless of the cost.
Interesting. So true. So true. Yeah. Sometimes, I hear it from students, and also from, it's not a secret that, in our industry right now, it's not always easy to attract talent, to get people to work. Sometimes students ask, is there a future, right? What is your take on the hospitality industry in the future? Is there, as we move forward, right? How do you see this developing, after COVID, of course, as we took, of course, a big step, backwards, but now, what is your long-term vision for our industry? Especially for the young people, the students, or young professionals, or potential students and professionals who are listening to us. What would you like to tell them?
Well, if I was to answer that question now, it's interesting because I'm in the process of writing some kind of small books or booklets to give the desire for the new generation to work in hospitality. And what you're saying is true. After COVID, we have seen, it's unfortunate, and it's not local, it's global. We have seen the workforce going away, going to something else, to other industries, etc. I believe that in the world, there are still people who are willing to please others.
Yeah.
This is our core business, is to please, to host, to receive, to provide experiences, and to please people. I'm confident that there is still a lot of those young generations who are, and coming generations who are in that mindset, hopefully, and that the labor and the staff and the young generation will adhere and will come back to the hospitality. It's true that technology, the point that you raised before, what we see is that technology is somewhat replacing in some areas staff, which is great from a productivity and return on investment standpoint, maybe a little less in terms of experience, because the nature of hospitality is people serving people. So no, I think there's always proudness when you work in hospitality and you see a guest leaving the restaurant, the hotel, or even just when he asks you an information, like for a concierge. When you created an emotion and you see the guest leaving with a smile, you know that you did right. And I think the human being, for most, are satisfied, happy, and are connectors, are dots to create wow factors, to create those experiences. And there's no reason why it will not continue. It's a matter of time. Now, of course, in our vision, we are in the niche market of the boutique hotels, so it's a little bit different. But it's true that when you look at all other larger international chain, the pace and the approach is different in terms of the booking and the staying process, etc. So I think maybe Angelo has a different take on that.
Yes. What would you like to say about how do you see the future of our industry? Are you positive? What is your view?
This I am really positive because I am pretty confident that nobody will stop to travel unless the other pandemic, of course, will happen. But there is this common sense of discovering new culture in everybody, and so traveling is an integrated part of this. So I'm pretty confident that the industry will be there forever. So now it's true that we are facing some challenges in attracting new talents, but I have to say that I don't see this challenging just for our industry. If I'm speaking with suppliers as well, which are not just hospitality related, like will be, let's say, we have a supplier for the elevator, or the same. They are struggling as well in finding people. So I see that it's a kind of parallel issue that we have in different industry at the moment. But still, I firmly believe that hospitality is giving a lot to the people who want to start on this world, because at the end of the day, it's and I really like what Gerald said about the smile. I think that's one of the few industry where you can see immediately the result of what you did. Because my father was not working for hospitality. My father was working in the world of retail. He was selling coffee for a big brand of Italy, and he never knew if the people drinking the coffee were happy or not. They were consuming this at top. But I know that when we are bringing a plate on the table, or when a guest is checking out in the morning, I know if the guest is happy or not. So this kind of immediate, let's say, feedback on what you are doing, that it's really, really relevant in the hospitality world. Then as well, if we go back what we said before, especially the, let's say, the first steps of Gerald in his career, for example, when you were speaking about this going fast in your career path, this is still ongoing in the hospitality world. I mean, we are not like many years ago, where you need to be a waiter for a long time and then maybe you were assistant mate and then maybe mate and so on. Now this process are really faster than before. So if you want to grow professionally, there are a lot of opportunity. Of course, this depends always from you. I mean, if you're not curious, if you're not investing your time, if you are not passionate about what you're doing, then it will be, of course, much more difficult. But again, maybe you are not then in the right industry in this case, because it's always depending from person to person. And especially working now in a cosmopolitan city like Amsterdam, it was the same in Barcelona, in Venice. It's this kind of being in contact every day with a colleague coming from a different part of the world. It's even not professionally, but socially and let's say personal, is letting you grow a lot. You have, I feel that the people working in the hospitality world, they have a kind of being open mind, which is really, really larger if compared to other industries. So I feel that we have a lot to offer. We have a lot to offer as well in terms of training in people management skill, because our level of empathy, I mean, with how many type of guests we have contact every day. And our level of empathy is so large that then at the end, even if we want to change industry, our let's say going in another industry is much easier, because we already worked with so different type of people that we can easily, let's say, adapt the model as well to other industries. So I see the future of hospitality in the green side.
Yeah, nice. Just what you were saying, it reminds me of the guest that we had last month, Monsieur Le Calves. He said, it actually made me a better person working in hospitality. It's kind of what you say, it grew my sense of empathy, of caring for other people. So yeah, you kind of reflect the same thing. Before I want to move to the people online and see what questions they have. Before we started, Gerald, you also said, we talked about that comparison with baby, right? What is so cool, what is so amazing about our industry? Do you remember what you were saying? Yeah, perhaps you can repeat that for the whole audience. I thought it's a kind of very nice way, perhaps, to finish this part of the show.
I think that we, as I think Angelo also mentioned it a few minutes ago, I think we work in an industry, in one of the very few industries where we have the opportunity to grow internally in your current organization, to grow internationally or regionally by going to other brands, other hotels, other countries. And this does not happen in every industry. I'm going to take as a point of reference somebody who will work in the post office, and great people work in post office. That's not the point, but will hardly go and work in the post office in a different country.
No.
And this is true for many other industries. Hospitality is one of the very few industries in the world where, as you said, Angelo, where you will meet today with somebody who came from Sao Paulo, and the day after someone will join coming from Japan, and then 3 days or 1 month later somebody will come from Australia and work in your hotel, and then you may work with your neighbor, you never know, the following month. And this is fascinating. This is what makes our industry so fascinating, so beautiful, is because if you work in hospitality, and if you are meant to be in hospitality, you have an international mindset. Your mindset is to have no difference based on religion, on racial, on anything, because you are open to the people. You are open to serve anybody. You're open to work with anybody normally. And then you do that in a different country, maybe every year, every 2 years, every 3 years. And it's fantastic. It's fantastic. Hopefully one day we'll do that on another planet.
Probably, yeah. If it's up to Mr. Elon Musk or Richard,
who knows?
Branson,
but then when to terminate on this topic, is, as I said, when I have done a lot of openings. I don't know about you, Angelo, but an opening is something fantastic, and especially when it's one of your one of your first jobs. I opened Disney. That was basically my first big job. Openings 5,600 rooms, and I don't know anymore, 50 something restaurants and convention centers And all this at the same time was something completely crazy. But when you do that, and you work with 180 something nationalities, and you work with standards that you never heard before in a language that is not your basic mother language when it comes to work. So you work in an industry where you have to adapt, to be flexible, to be agile, to be customer oriented. And if you combine all this, hospitality is made for you. If you like to travel, if you like to please people, if you like to be challenged, and if you like to find results and solutions, and if you are able to put a smile on the face of a guest, wow, you are in the right spot. I'll stop here. This is not marketing.
Beautiful. No, that's a great way to end. And I'm sure Angelo agrees 500%. So let's open the floor to the audience. If there's any questions you would like to ask, you can put it in the chat or open your mic and talk. So please feel free to engage and ask our two dear guests questions that you might have, observations, doubts, specific things you'd like to know about them, their career. If you can perhaps put them in the chat, that might be easier.
There is a comment saying that the visitors cannot open their microphone. It's probably they're locked. Or maybe put it in chat, yeah?
Yeah, you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, if you can type quickly in the chat, by all means, I'm happy to address.
How do we foresee the near future of our industry? That was a question that just popped up.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
So, Angelo,
the geopolitical mayhem, the unfortunate situation in Israel and Palestine. Yeah.
You want me to pick it up?
Yeah, by all means, Angelo, if you want to start.
Yeah, sure. I mean, of course, as you were saying, Willem, there are countries at the moment that are suffering some political issue, and this, of course, doesn't give a positive outcome for our industry, but not only for our industry. So we have currently in the Mediterranean area conflict. There is another one going on in Ukraine. Of course, it's a long time. This will not help our industry, like it does not help other industry on that territory as well. But as I said before, for me, I see long term this industry going pretty well, because the interest in exploring new cultures, exploring new countries, exploring new gastronomy, having contact with different people, it's growing day after day. So, and I see as well, what I'm seeing as well in terms of workload, what I have to say as well, it's that people want to enjoy life a little bit more. So, for example, in what I experienced in the Netherlands, it's this short week. We have more people now working part-time and less people working full-time. This is something as well that I'm seeing for the future of our industry, where we will increase the number of head counts, but in terms of FTE will be always the same, because we will have people who will still enjoy to work in the hospitality industry, but for less days. So, but still, I see the future of the hospitality industry pretty good. I mean, it's kind of industry that it has existed since when we started to live on this on the earth, and I think that it's correlated to the human being. So
yeah,
I see it really positively.
Okay, thank you, Angelo. Gerald, would you like to add?
No, but I think Angelo pinpoints the answer. And there was another question, which was actually...
Yeah, there's many popping up now. Can you share an amazing and unforgettable moment in your career, in encounters with guests or staff, something that really pops up? Gerald,
yes, there's one thing that comes to my mind when I was, well, there's many, of course. But there's one, when I started working in Annecy, in that hotel, I was coming from Disney, So as I said before, 5,600 rooms, and the bigger the better, because the sky is the limit, if so. And when you arrive in a smaller hotel with 98 rooms, and the staff looks at you like someone coming from another planet, because you come with all those fancy and crazy and unbelievable ideas of what is possible, where the staff is not used to that. And you start speaking, and you live your life, you live your profession, you live your industry, and you are kind of the black sheep in the middle of the ship. And there's one thing that I recall. Actually, there's several, but there's two things that I remember. One receptionist in that hotel, who was very young and starting, and telling me that, Gerald, you don't realize we have 45 check-ins today and 50 checkouts. And I didn't say anything, because we were used to do 800 check-in and 800 checkouts, with a few more stations, of course, but so it's not comparable. But I was always trying to come with ideas and creativity based on my experience, and this is what everybody gets in hospitality. You get so much experience, so much ideas, so much things that you go through, which are basic things or unbelievably unimaginable things. And one day, the CEO of that property, or the president of that property, told me during a meeting, Gerald, you should maybe slow down in making the team or the staff in the hotel dreaming, because you have done things that they cannot even imagine possible. And that was a moment in my career which I thought, it's amazing, because we are the party to do the impossible, and that's true from in our career path, but it's true also for the guest. And very often, especially when you work in an enterprise where you are in a theme park or in a convention center, and you have a gala dinner, and people will ask you fancy questions. I mean, customers will ask you to do things that seem very impossible. Nothing, or pretty much nothing, is impossible if you want, if you have the meaning, and if you're the vision, and if you have the creativity and the right team around you, you can please the guest. And this is, I think, this is where creating a fantastic experience for the guest will create a returning guest also. So this is one of the unforgettable moments in my career. And then there's another question linked to that.
There's another one. Angelo, perhaps you want to talk. What is something that a challenge that you faced and you managed to overcome or solve, and that you are particularly proud of? Angelo, is there something that comes to mind, an experience, something that you had, perhaps very tough, but you managed to turn it around, or you turn it into something very beautiful, something that made you're still proud of today?
Well, there are many projects that I'm proud of, because as we said before, and using the same metaphor of Gerald, when you're working in the hospitality world, you are creating babies every day. So again, I can tell you about this project of the new restaurant that we just opened. I mean, that space on the 24th floor was the most expensive storage room in the whole Amsterdam, because it's really nice. Nice view, really nice space, but it was not used as like a restaurant. So if I see the picture of it, was just 1 year ago, I see the picture of today, I say, wow, that was a big project. But it can be this, but it can be as well a small smile that you make on the face of your employee. I mean, and during a life of an employee, they can face a lot of challenges, and seeing how they can develop every day. This is something that is making me proud of as well. I mean, I can see people that, for example, 2 years ago, I was back in Cologne, and I met one of my trainee, who now is one of the best bartender in Germany, who opened his own bar and is really well known in Germany, doing a TV show and so on.
Wow!
It was, at that time, it was not a challenge for me. It was just, let's say, daily work. But I am proud of this, because when you see that you put your 2 cents of efforts are creating so great people in the world. So this is what you do as leader in the hospitality world, you are creating new leader, new personal brand and so on. And of course, I mean, I remember that night I was speaking with my wife the whole night about the guy. I said, this one was one of my trainees. Look at now. So it's this is what sometimes we picture it like big challenges, but actually what we do daily, we need to be really proud of it.
That's beautiful, right? To help people to get to their full potential, right? To help them grow as persons, as professionals. Wow, fantastic. Wow, time flies when you're having fun. It's 7 o'clock already, so I really have to let all of you go. First of all, a very great thank you to, and an applause. It's going to be perhaps silent as there's no mics on, but an applause to both of you for sharing your precious time with us and with all the people who are listening and watching with us. So thank you very, very much. And I hope to cross paths with both of you soon, whether it's in Switzerland or Paris or Amsterdam. Thank you very, very much. And also for all of the people, all the students and professionals listening in. Thank you so much. I'd just like to share with you quickly that we have some very nice events coming up. On December 1st, we're going to have the Hospitality Connect. It's going to be a beautiful event in the Intercontinental Paris Le Grand Hotel next to the Opera, where we're going to have the general manager, Monsieur Lohr, Christophe Lohr, and his team talking about their experiences. We're going to explain our programs. There's going to be a cocktail after that where you can mix and mingle with these professionals. So you can sign up on our website. That's on Friday, December 1st. And then the following day, on Saturday, December 2nd, we have our last open door event at Ferrières campus in Paris from 10 to 2 with a full-fledged tour of the facility, with a presentation, a breakfast in our castle for all of those of you who want to know more about our wonderful programs, undergraduate and graduates, and our pastry training. So please sign up as well. And please reach out to us on our website, on our social media. We are at Instagram at école_Ferrières, also at École Ferrières at LinkedIn. So please reach out to us, follow us. And I look forward to seeing you all on the next Ferrières Insight, which will be on November 18th, Wednesday, November 18th, again at 6 p.m. Barcelona, Paris time. Thank you so much to all of you. Have a great rest of the day and look forward to connect with you online or face-to-face. Thank you so much.